is now 7:33 on November 18th, and this is the Boxborough Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. This is a virtual meeting. We're going to take a couple items out of order because we're trying to see if we can get a full board here. So when I call your names, board members, just acknowledge your presence. Michael Toops.
Michael Toops, present.
Sean McCormick.
McCormick, present.
Than Stunts.
Stunts, present.
And Mark Barbadoro is present. And today, Mark White unfortunately can't make the meeting for personal reasons. I think you guys are aware. And we have a new associate member, and he is asking me for help to get online. So apparently the Zoom link isn't working for him.
I will send it directly to him if you want to go ahead and proceed to your minutes and such.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. So we're going to take a couple items out of order. The first thing we're going to do is, let's see, actually maybe we aren't. Oh, we don't have meeting minutes. Why did I think we did?
October 21st.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thanks, Sean. Yeah, so we will review the minutes of October 21, 2025, and Alec has put them up on the board. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes, and does anybody have any recommendations for changes to the minutes or amendments?
Yes, there seems to be one typo on the second page.
Okay.
It's saying that I made a motion, which was difficult because I was absent.
Funny. Let me see.
Actually, it's saying that I seconded a motion. Excuse me.
Seconded by Mr. McCormick to adjourn the meeting. Yeah, I would hate to not have to approve these minutes, but I can't recall. Does anybody recall who seconded? Usually it's a free-for-all by the time we're adjourning the meeting, and about 10 people say it.
Probably me, probably just me, because you usually don't, and Michael Toops moved it.
Okay.
So I seconded it.
All right, so we'll amend the record to indicate that Than seconded.
Sounds
okay,
good.
Any other amendments to the meeting minutes? Hearing none. Let's see. And do we have a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
So moved, Michael Toops.
There's a second?
Second.
Okay, moved by Michael, second by Than. Any discussion? Hearing none. Michael Toops.
Michael Toops, aye.
Sean McCormick.
McCormick, aye.
Than Stunts.
Stunts, aye.
And Mark Barbadoro, aye. Okay. Alec, is there any correspondence?
All right, bear with me. Let me just pull this down. No correspondence. We have your rules and regulations as well as the public hearing with the applicant.
Okay. And did you send our associate? Oh, you did. Okay, so he is.
Yes. If he double checks his email, it should be the top at either his Gmail or his Boxborough Gmail.
Well, I think while we're waiting, we'll just give it I think the rules and regs is probably going to be a pretty short topic anyway. So why don't we just move into the discussion about rules and regs? So we're mostly complete with the rules and regs, and I'm not sure what we need to do to move it forward. Does anybody have any suggestions on what our next step is? And that includes you, Alec, if you think you and Ian have any ideas about what we should do in order to finish it up.
I think at this stage, if the board wants to just pick it back up at, oh, perfect, here comes Andrew. If the board just wants to pick it up and bring it to a public hearing for approval, I think we're at that stage. We've talked through it several times. I'll have to double check. I don't believe there's any highlighted sections still remaining, but I haven't looked at it today, so I don't know off the top of my head. There were a couple areas the board had discussed potentially wanting to come back and reevaluate, but at a certain stage, I recommend the board make passage of the rules and regs. We can always crack it open with about 2 to 3 weeks notice.
Yeah, so it takes 2 weeks to notice, but we can always open it again and fix things that people find problematic. But Michael Toops.
I noticed, I don't know, I was, rather than the clean copy, the last markup still, I don't know if it was resolved in the clean copy. There was a couple items, I think there were questions back for town attorney or something. Were those items resolved? Other than that, the document should be pretty close to the goal line. Over.
Yeah, any recollection of that, Alec? Oh, you're muted.
Yep. Pulling it out myself right here. You can see we still have a comment pane because we called it the clean copy. Well, perhaps I stand corrected. I will have to pare through the document. It is several pages, so why don't I do that in the meantime? You do have it listed on your agenda for later tonight if you want to open the public hearing. So while the applicant is giving their presentation tonight, I can be reviewing this and double check to confirm if we need confirmation on anything from Attorney Costa.
Okay. So I'd just like to introduce the board to our new associate member. He was sworn in a couple of weeks ago and was appointed by the select board a couple of weeks ago. This is Andrew Tavolacci, and he's our new associate, and that's good because it seems like just about every hearing lately has been within 300 feet of somebody's home. So it's invaluable having our new member. So welcome, Andrew. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Mark.
So, Andrew, I have some questions before we. Actually, maybe why don't I just open the meeting and then I'll ask you the questions. Hold on one moment. Okay, the time is now 7:43 p.m. and I am reopening the 975 Massachusetts Avenue special permit. In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Boxborough Zoning Bylaw, Section 4.1.3D, Business and Industrial Uses, Section 2.2 of the Board of Appeals, and Section 2.3 of Special Permits, the Boxborough Zoning Board of Appeals will conduct a public hearing continuation to review the application for special permit submitted by Goldsmith, Prest, and Ringwall, Inc. on behalf of the applicant BHG 109 LLC. The property located in the business district is owned by Brett Guthiel. The applicant seeks to construct an 8-unit contractor storage building and associated site improvements. And I think I saw Tiv in the room. So Tiv, welcome back. And we have a full board. So we are now about ready to hear your presentation. But before I do that, I am going to ask our new associate a couple questions. Andrew, did you have an opportunity to either watch the tape or review the minutes of the first hearing for this public hearing?
Yes.
Okay, so you're familiar with it. And I have checked the minutes and agendas all the way up to this point, and we have not taken any other testimony since that first hearing, so that you're allowed to deliberate and vote on this case because of the I can't even remember the term, but you're allowed to participate. So I'm officially appointing you to this meeting to be our fifth member, to give the applicant as many votes as they can get. And so with all that in mind, Tiv, would you like to tell us where we're at with the application? You've gotten through the planning board, I understand.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, I'll just introduce myself. Lim Hood Tiv. I'm an engineer at Goldsmith Preston Ringwall, GPR for short. Here tonight as a representative for the applicant for the project. Let me see here. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen.
Is your first name Lim Hote?
Lim Hood, yes.
Oh, sorry about that. I thought it was Tiv. Something. My bad.
No, that's all right. Alrighty. So, let me just. So, it's been quite some time since I was here. Not counting the last time that I was here that we didn't have a quorum for. So I like to kind of go through the changes that I think I think I did mention there were some changes coming, but never got a chance to come back and update those. There have been more changes, so I like to kind of just go through them all as much as we can. So starting with the existing conditions plan, we had requests to provide additional locations or survey locate existing trees on site. So as you can see along the entirety of the frontage here, we have located trees that are 12 inches in diameter or greater on the plan here, from the edge of roadway essentially to about 50 feet from the property line, which is the setback limit under the zoning district. In addition to that, we have also located trees as well as the trail path at the back of the site right about here. There were some concern during the planning board permitting process regarding the view and, I guess the general screening back there, which we have provided the survey location for. Moving ahead. This is our erosion and sediment control plan. Not a whole lot of changes were done. The general sediment basin that was being proposed, we included additional ditch or swale, temporary swale, to kind of direct runoff from the construction to the basin itself. In addition to that, a couple more basins over here, as well as over here, just trying to catch as much as we can during construction period. We have also included, let me just zoom in real quick, a temporary dewatering structure over here, as well as a diversion trench for the dewatering sump. That was something that was requested by the peer review engineer. In addition, probably the largest change to the site plan when I was first before the board is the location of the driveway itself. Originally, the driveway access was meant to come in at this general location over here. That driveway access location, we ultimately shifted down gradient to the left, the screen left, in order to get away from the Sarah's Way and Mass Ave intersection over here. Generally, the change to the driveway location was recommended by Places Associate through their peer review process. After looking at it again, we agreed that it was a good change due to the fact that it does get us away from that intersection, as well as provided additional sight distance for the vehicles that are traveling on Mass Ave. Because not shown on the screen here, but if you extend this roadway a little bit further, it does have a curve, have a bend to it that prevents you from getting the sight distance required if we were to keep the driveway access location where it was proposed. So ultimately, it was a good change. In addition, I believe I might have mentioned this during the first meeting, because at the time we had received some comments from the peer review to recommend relocation of the wetland replication area. It was originally meant to be at this general area. This area has been moved to the front of the site, right over here. This is a recommendation by Bill Murray from Places Associates, working with Matt Morrow, our wetland scientist. We all went out on site and they both generally agreed that this is a better location for the replication. Therefore, we made the change per the recommendation.
And the apron's just a leftover from the original to reference where you were going to enter. Is that right?
The apron shown here, this is actually a temporary construction apron. It's just rip-wrap apron so that vehicles can kind of go in and out without tracking dirt onto Mass Ave.
Okay.
So, moving to the site layout plan. Again, this is really showing the driveway as it is, shifting from the location where it was before over here, approximately about 50 feet. With the change to the driveway location, we were able to at least get it so that if you're standing on the front of the driveway access looking in, you're not looking directly at the building anymore. Kind of looking at it off the side. Do have a couple of renderings that I can show because that was something that we submitted to planning board per their request. And that's really it. The infiltration basin location and the general layout of that did not really change too much from what we had it before. The layout for the septic system over here also didn't really change, remained the same from the original plan that was submitted. And let's see here. Let's see, I believe back here, if you can see, let me just zoom in a little bit. I believe this change also came about in an effort to try to protect some of the existing trees that are located just right off of the existing stone wall over here. Let me just jump over to the landscaping plan just to show you guys that area. Oh, sorry. Let's see if I can open that up. Can everybody see that okay?
Yep.
Alrighty. So this is a landscaping plan that was I guess submitted during the time of the peer review as well as planning board permitting process, but we included an additional landscaping wall back here, and that ultimately allowed us to keep some of the existing trees up here as well as provide new planting in this area to kind of fill in the gap, so to speak, for the existing trees that are along this side of the stone wall, the town side of the stone wall. So
I have a question for you, Limhout.
Yes.
This is the final plan that was approved by the planning board. Is that right? Just to be sure.
That is correct. I understand there are some conditions that we have yet to get a final look at.
Okay.
Some of those conditions we would potentially have to either address the landscaping plan as an update, But generally the layout is what you see here.
Okay.
So, kind of keeping it in line with the retaining wall as well as the landscaping addition. At the front, I guess, yeah, front of the building over here, where we have this retaining wall that runs along the outer edge of the parking area at the front. We have provided landscaping along the bottom of that retaining wall, as well as landscaping at the top of the retaining wall in an effort to screen both the retaining wall as well as the building that sits at the top of it from the view along Mass Ave. And let me just show you guys the So this is the rendering that I would mention. This one here shows you the existing trees that we located, as well as the ones that are being proposed right in front of that retaining wall. And we're standing on the proposed driveway location, kind of looking at the building over there. Let me just. Oh.
I'm sorry to interrupt. So the you're showing trees here that are like, I mean, if I scaled them, they're probably looking like 12 to 15 feet tall, and you're probably not planting trees that big right off the bat, right?
That is correct. These trees are shown at mature height.
Okay.
I believe the landscaping plan that we have shows evergreen trees in the range of 8 to 10 feet tall.
I'm sorry, how big are they when you planted them?
8 to 10 feet tall.
Okay.
So they're not small.
What's the wall made out of? Is
They
it just
will
concrete?
be concrete block walls.
Concrete block. Okay.
Yeah.
And was that specified by the planning board? What agreed upon a specific product or?
Nothing was agreed upon. We had a conversation with the owner to see what it is that he's looking to put in, and he just stated that, general block wall. The final product choice was not picked.
Okay. Thanks.
I'll just show this one as well. So this one here shows you the rendering, but without the existing trees that are located on the side there. So these ones over here are the trees that we're proposing essentially. All right. So I believe that covers the changes that I'd like to go over. Happy to answer any questions you may have. I'll turn it back over to you.
Board members, do you have any questions at this time for the applicant?
Yeah.
Sean, go ahead.
So you got your site plan approved with conditions.
That is correct.
Is there an approval decision, or is that forthcoming?
Sean, I'll answer that question through you, Mr. Chairperson. The board rendered its decision and agreed upon a written form of decision last night. They took their votes and they authorized the chairperson to decide to sign the decision on behalf of the board. However, that decision is being forwarded to Special Land Use Council first to review within the 14-day window prior to signature and then stamping for the appeal period.
Okay, so when we're saying an approval with conditions, these are just the standard not the standard conditions, but they're just conditions of approval. They're not preconditions to approval. It is an approval.
Yes, okay. It has been approved. It has been granted site plan approval. Conditions range from stipulations of revisions to the plan prior to issuance of a building permit, requirements of a pre-site visit, and requirements prior to certificate of occupancy.
Okay. And has this been through Conscom yet?
That will be tomorrow.
Okay, but the NOI has been filed.
The NOI has been filed. We have spoken with the commission, I believe, 2 to 3 times now. The last time I had a conversation with the commission, they had a question about one of the waiver that we had requested regarding the grading associated with the septic system. I don't know, you can see my cursor over
Yep.
here. Um, the and we had addressed that question, so we're just waiting to go back to have the follow-up conversation about updating them with the updated site plan, just as I'm doing right now.
All right, great. Thank you.
Andrew, one moment, just a quick question to follow up Sean's, and then I'll get to you. When you were last with the Conscom, did they see or they must have, I guess. Well, actually, maybe they didn't. The wetlands replication area that you've depicted on this plan. Have they seen a plan with that wet replication area and the curb cut at their present locations on the plan? Have they seen that already?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Andrew.
Just a question, given the trees and bushes that you've decided that you agreed to plant, how long would it be approximately before the building is obscured from view from the road?
So I'm not a landscape architect, so I'm not gonna pretend to know the answer, but I'll just show you. So as we saw with the rendering earlier, you're standing over here. You have to be looking this way to be looking at the building. It's not directly in front the line of sight of the driveway coming in. Furthermore, if you look at this squiggly line over here, we are maintaining approximately 100. Let's see here. 125 feet of existing tree line between the edge of pavement, kind of looking into the site. The landscaping plan, let me just pop over to that one. The landscaping plan, as far as the evergreens that we're planting along the front of that retaining wall, again, they are going in as the plan is proposing 8 to 10 feet high. So you can imagine 8 to 10 foot high evergreen wall lining the front of that retaining wall, as well as on top of that retaining wall in front of the building. So, we generally believe that the screening that's provided is sufficient. Although, they're not going to be, what you see in the rendering right off the bat. It's going to take time to grow. But at the very least, you have these tall evergreen trees, 8 to 10 feet high right off the bat. And that's going through the existing, 125 feet of existing vegetation that we're keeping in front of the disturb area or project area.
Okay, and the grade where the new trees are being planted in front of the retaining wall, is that lower than the building?
It is. So the wall, I would say, it varies, but at the lowest point is about 10 feet tall. So the trees would essentially be almost as high as the wall at the bottom of the wall, essentially covering the full profile, close to the full profile of the wall at planting. So at least you would have that. And then at the top of the wall, again, 8 to 10 feet tall. Yes, it is a tall building. At the peak, it is 30 feet high. But the edge here, is peak at the ridge at the center. The edge is roughly, 22 and some change. So out of the 22 feet high edge of a building, you'd have about 10 feet of evergreen right out the bat.
Okay, thank you.
You've got the seasonal stream. You have probably a manufactured product that you're going to put down for a bridge. Is that right?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Oh, at the entrance, there looks like there's a seasonal stream, and it looks like you may have a bridge or some way to cross it. Is it a manufactured product or?
It is a manufactured product. I apologize. I that was one of the changes that I should have brought up. I believe when I was here before, we did not have this stream crossing. This was I think we originally had a half-buried pipe. Um, it's been confirmed by our Willen scientists that this is indeed an intermittent stream. Therefore, we had placed in aluminum, the context aluminum arch culvert in order to meet the openness ratio in accordance with the mass stream crossing standard. So it is a product. It's got to be manufactured with wing walls to kind of hold back the grades as much as we can, so minimizing our disturbance within this area, but also kind of maintaining the openness and the height requirement for wildlife as well as the stream itself.
Is that thing going to take a full triaxle? The weight of a full triaxle?
That is what they advertise as, and if it doesn't, they're going to be the one who's fixing it.
Okie dokie. As long as no one gets killed, that's a good thing.
Yep.
So,
I've seen a few of these go in before. They do a pretty good job of holding up. I've seen trucks go over them. They work pretty well.
Okie dokie. How do you have a section of that or?
Let me see if I have a detail showing this.
And I saw you've got some sort of guardrail arrangement going on there.
Right on top. Yep. So this is the profile of the culvert crossing. On chemistry, right here is where the existing channel that we're trying to maintain. When it comes to doing stream crossing standards, they typically ask you to take a measurement of what they consider a bankful width of the existing channel, and then multiply it by, I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was 1.2 times the bankful width. Oh, right here. So you have to maintain approximately, let's say, 4 feet minimum. The arch culvert itself, because we had to meet a certain openness ratio, ultimately ended up being 9.2 feet wide, so quite wide, and 3.2 height for the openness, the height openness. So that's what they look like.
Okay. Thanks.
There we go.
So this is not there's no flood zone there, is that right?
There is not, no.
Okay. All right. And I'm going to be asking this rhetorical question. I think I already know the answer, unfortunately, but there has been no design specifications for the exterior facade of the building. It's still going to be whatever the builder wants, preferably, and he probably wants corrugated steel, right?
That is correct. Corrugated steel. Basically matching up with the existing building next door.
Yeah. Personal problem with that is that the building next door, it's almost impossible to see it from the street. And I think this one's might be a little bit more visible than the other one will be, at least until the vegetation grows in. But, okay, that's what we're working with right now. Just want to clarify. Okay. Any other questions from the board to the applicant? So you've got a block retaining wall in the front, and then it looks like you've got riprap or something. It's not going to be landscaped, or is it, the hillsides?
Let me just zoom over. Which side are you talking about, over here or?
Well, I mean, that one's not quite as important to me, but the ones that are between the entrance and the retaining wall, as I'm looking from the street up towards the building, what's that that area, I think there's detention basins there, right? And then
So
there's a grade, and then there's a block wall, and then there's the parking lot, right?
so
So,
to clarify, the infiltration basin will be grass. So the berm surrounding it, they'll all be grass. The hatching that you see for the riprap is only limited to the overflow weir at this location over here. That's an emergency spillway for the system. The rest of the berm, let me just zoom in a little bit. All right, I just wish you can zoom a little bit further. So the hatching you see over here for the side slope, therefore the 3-to-1 slope. The peer review had recommended putting down the jute matting for the locations that are 3-to-1, but between the 3-to-1 slope, the top of the access berm, the side slope inside the basin itself, and the surrounding area leading up to the retaining wall will all be grass.
so just help me out here for a minute. 3-to-1 means 3 feet of rise for every foot of run.
The other way around.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Like, oh my God, that's pretty freaking steep. Okay, so that area, the long and short of it, it's largely grass, and it's there's a spillway with riprap in the middle, and that's not even going to be very easy to see from the entrance from the street side. Okay, so the hillside is on the driveway on the left, that steep embankment. That's going to be riprap, or is that going to be landscaped?
That's going to be landscape similar to the 3-to-1 slope. This one is going to have, I guess, different model or product for the jute matting. The one that we usually spec out and recommend is the North American green. So there are these coconut mattings that do a pretty good job of stabilizing slope, while at the same time giving the seed a better chance to kind of grow and catch on.
Okay, so all of that's going to be, I mean, it's pretty darn steep, so you're not going to be mowing that.
No,
Probably. Okay,
no. I mean, there's a guardrail there too. So the intent is that to let natural vegetation kind of take hold as soon as construction is done.
okay. All right. Any other questions or comments from the board? I think I've got the parking has stayed the same, right, since the last plan, essentially.
Essentially the same. There were some conversation about potentially taking out a couple of parking spaces to plant more trees, but ultimately we were granted the waiver to not have to provide the required number of trees per the zoning, kind of in an effort to kind of minimize the, just cutting down trees just to put up more.
Okay. I know the planning board is really good at doing parking analysis, so I'm not even going to personally bother with it. But I saw Andrew's hand up first. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, what are plans for like getting up snow plow in there and snow removal? As in, where would you put the snow that you were removing?
So we do have a couple of snow storage locations specified on here. These hatching you see over here, plow the snow, come up. They'll have a spot to put here. They'll have a spot to put here, here, and a couple of spot at the top at the parking area. Designate a couple of spaces for that as well up here.
Okay, so if you're clearing the excuse me, the drive, you're going to be plowing snow uphill.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Than.
I know we'd talked the first time around about whether the turning radius is for the fire trucks all the way around the building. Is that still the case? Is there still a question about that?
We have had extensive conversation with the fire department regarding that. Provided with emails back and forth. Ultimately, the person, I apologize, I can't remember the personnel that I spoke with. They reviewed the layout that was provided, and they didn't have any further comment.
Did did Sue Carter see a plan with some radiuses on it for the fire trucks?
She did. She
And
reviewed
she
it.
had no comment too. Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Michael?
So the application in front of the ZBA is mainly for special permit under the use category. Was it table 413D or something? And that's the only thing you're coming before the board for, I believe. There's no other no variances or other thing other than the special permit for the use type, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, just wanted to clarify.
Any other questions or comments from the board? If not, I'm going to reach out to our very small audience and see if anybody has any questions or comments from the applicant. So I'm opening up the meeting to public comments. So anyone from the audience who has questions for the applicant, you can just raise your hand, and if you can't raise your hand, turn your camera on and wave your hands around, and I'll see you. So, and there isn't many people here to make a comment, but I'm not seeing anybody. Okay, the record will reflect that no one raised their hand. Okay, so Alec and I were talking earlier about what our next step would be. Alec, could you kind of brief the board on what you think the best path forward would be at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we've briefly discussed, the planning board decision is still forthcoming. That'll be wrapped up within the week. We have 14 days to get that stamped in, but our intent is to get that done before the Thanksgiving holiday, so no later than Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, depending on when the planning board chair can come in to stamp their decision, or I should say to sign and then file that with the town clerk. While that is forthcoming, we'll be able to provide that to the ZBA before your next scheduled meeting, which we need to put on the books. Simultaneously, I think it's pertinent for us to begin preparing a written decision for you to review. There are a few moving pieces here because there's the planning board decision that's been issued. The Conservation Commission will rule on their notice of intent, but I can begin preparing your decision, and then you can compare it and add any additional conditions you feel are needed on top of the planning board site plan approval, assuming you find the same way. Ultimately, whichever way the board finds is up to your discretion. As a reminder to both the board and to the applicant, a special permit requires a supermajority. So in this case, 4/5 of the acting members. In this case, because there are the moving parts, I do recommend continuing this out to your next scheduled meeting date, just so you can have the written decision in front of you. And so I'm seeking authorization from the board tonight to prepare that decision, assuming that we have another meeting early into December.
It also gives the applicant an opportunity to receive the decision and review it and file it if possible. So that's probably probably what we should do. Sean.
Yeah, I would move to close the public hearing on this.
Well, we can close a public hearing for sure, because we are committing ourselves to getting our meeting and our decision done, but one way or the other, but we could certainly do that. Michael, I saw your hand up.
Well, there's a motion on the floor, Mr. Chair.
Oh, I didn't hear you say I motioned to. I apologize. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. If we're closing the public hearing, but we're waiting to act based on the planning board and CONSCOM decisions to incorporate that. I would be a little bit shy of closing the public hearing in case there are questions that come out of those decisions we want to act on. If we're not interested in going that path, then if we close the hearing, do we have to wait on the other boards? But if we're going to wait on the other boards, we may want to go back to the applicant for further information or clarification. So that's why I would not be in favor of closing the hearing under those conditions. Over.
Thanks, Michael. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'm actually in favor of leaving the meeting open too, because I don't think we're gaining anything by it, but we are committing ourselves not to taking any more testimony, as Michael said. So, and I'm not seeing any net benefit to doing it other than to locking ourselves in. Sam?
Do we have any time deadlines for how long we can leave a public hearing open?
We don't have a deadline. We can continue as long as we continue it to a time and date certain.
And as long as the applicant agrees, right?
No.
No?
No. Mutual consent for extensions are when your clock is running out, but this continuances don't run the clock out. Limhout.
Just speaking on behalf of the applicant, I guess I don't have a problem leaving it open either. I feel that we've addressed the thing we have addressed. I'm not hearing any additional concern, but I don't mind leaving it open just to kind of have any loose end tied up. We don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
With that comment from the applicant, because I was about to actually push back, because this is an application that was filed in May. It's gone through 2 other boards other than us. This isn't the most complicated application that in the world here. I was going to push back on not closing it, but with that comment, I'll withdraw the motion.
All right. Thanks, Sean. Okay. So, and Sean, I was about to agree with you. Okay. So, all right. Well, with all that in mind, I think, Alec, the board has kind of decided to continue to our best available date. Maybe we should run through that right now and then ask if someone will make a motion to continue.
Yeah, absolutely. So if board members could just open up your calendars. I know December is a tough month in general as we're getting into the holiday season. So I am looking on the earlier end, noting that once we get into December 16th, at that point, we're in the window of Hanukkah. December 2nd is currently available if the board would like to hold a meeting. Of note, Ian would be attending and hosting your meeting. I will be with the housing board on December 2nd, working through a housing production plan scope of work. However, you would still have coverage from the associate town planner. December 9th is currently available, and I would be able to join your meeting for that, if that makes any difference. And then, as I said, December 16th is the week of Hanukkah. So I leave it to the board's discretion which of those 3 meetings you would like to look forward to.
Sounds like December 2nd or December 9th, right? I don't think we can do a Hanukkah meeting. I think it
best practice, yeah.
Might be disrespectful. So unless the board has strong objections to some need for that date. So Limhout, the only other thing that I'm going to ask you to come back with is our requirements for a special permit is it's got to be a net benefit to the community. So come back and tell me why this thing is a net benefit to the community. If you're going to say we have a need for this type of use in the community, then maybe you can come back with some, with a statement as to why this is needed.
So I guess I can bring up one thing that that was brought up during the first meeting, but we never really kind of went back to it. I believe, Mr. Chair, you actually brought it up, the fact that there are some vacant building trades, units in town that are not being rented. I went back and spoke with the applicant landowner, and his explanation or his his feel is that he has plenty of people who are seeking a rental unit for that exact purpose. The reason why he's doing this project in the first place is that he sees it there is a demand. He's able to keep the units that he currently have rented at all time, and he's very confident that the 8 units that we're proposing will have tenants or people renting it pretty close to as soon as he has it available. That's kind of what we talked about.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so we have a December 2nd and a December 9th date. Does anyone have any something that would prevent us from doing one of those 2 days? Anybody busy those days?
I'm out of town on a business meeting on the 9th.
You're out of town on the 9th, but you're there on the 2nd.
Yeah, second
Okay.
I'd be rolling in like just on time, but on the 9th,
Awesome.
I'm out of town.
Okie dokie. So, I mean, I guess we could put it first on the agenda on December 2nd at 7:30. Does that work for everybody? Okay. Does somebody want to make a motion for December 2nd to continue the public hearing till December 2nd at 7:30 p.m.?
So moved. Michael Toops.
There a second?
McCormick.
Second.
Second.
Who was the second? I'm sorry. Was it Sean?
Sure, I'll second it.
All right. Cool. All right. Motioned and seconded. Okay. So we'll see you. We have to hold the vote. Any discussion?
Should we move it to 7:35 rather than 7:30 since our meeting opens at 7:30?
Yeah, we can do that. It can always come after the time allotted, but it can't come before.
True. Usually we don't do a 7:30 hearing.
I'm fine with that.
Historically, I haven't seen that anyway. So
I'm fine with the amendment. So we'll do it 7:35 instead of 7:30. Any discussion? Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Michael Toops.
Michael Toops, aye.
Andrew Tavolacci.
Favor.
Sean McCormick.
McCormick, aye.
And Mark Barbadoro, aye.
and Stunts eye.
Oh, and sorry. Yeah, I couldn't see on my screen, and that's how bad my memory is. Oh my God. Okay. Thanks, Stan. Sorry about that. Okay. Thanks, Limhout. We'll see you on the 2nd.
See you then. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Limhout.
Okay, so we've got our public hearing for the rules and regs. Is there any final thoughts? Anything you want to have done? I'd like to move this thing forward because we've been working on this for a good long time too.
Mr. Chairperson, if it would please the board, I have gone through over the course of the presentation. I've heard that presentation in particular several times now. I can start giving it, actually, I think. Nonetheless, I have gone through and reviewed the comments. If you would like to briefly open your public hearing for about 5 minutes, I can run through the few outstanding items and the simple revisions needed. And at your next meeting, you can pass a vote to approve, subject to Adam Costa's review on 2 notes, unless, Sean, you feel that you can answer some of these if needed.
Okay, so it is 8:29. And the Boxborough Zoning Board of Appeals will open its public hearing on the Zoning Board of Appeals rules and regulations in accordance with Mass General Law 48, Section 12. The Boxborough Zoning Board of Appeals will conduct our public hearing to consider the revisions of the Zoning Board of Appeals rules and regulations to govern the board's operation and administration procedures. So, Alec, would you like to let us know what the outstanding items were?
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. We are down to about 5 or 6 by my count. I've retained comments only where they were still existing. Between your last meeting now, Ian went back in, double checked and confirmed several sections. We also removed outstanding comments that had already been resolved by the board at previous meetings. So this is the cleanest copy that can be provided, and I'll circulate it back to the board tonight with any additional revisions you make here. So I'm just simply going to jump from comment to comment, noting that the remaining sections are clean. All right, so there was an outstanding comment. Need to check whether a notice of hearing is required or whether a simple majority vote would suffice. Yes, a notice of a public hearing is required. However, it's to the board's discretion whether you would like to make this a simple majority or a 4-member, so a super majority. As it's currently written, this would require an affirmative vote of no less than 4 regular members. That would be a super majority. So I leave it to the board's discretion. I have updated to reflect the duly noticed public hearing, or duly noticed hearing of the board in this case.
What do you guys think? To me, it's 6 of one and half a dozen of another.
So it's
Nope,
I'd hate
it's
to have
not that
a war fight
contentious.
over the.
I hope it's not that contentious.
What do you say?
it's either 3 or 4, right? It's majority or super majority.
Yes.
Do it by a majority.
What'd you say, Sean?
How about a majority?
A
Yeah.
majority it is, unless someone objects. Any objection to majority?
No, because I think we would adopt them by majority, right? So we wouldn't want to change that. Yeah, a majority makes sense. Yep.
Okay, cool.
All right. I deleted that comment as it's been resolved, and I've updated to reflect 3 members. So there was a comment left here, Appendix 1 of the rules. So that refers to your application cover page. That is a separate standalone document, so it's to the board's discretion. Either I can bring that to your next public hearing in Word format so that we can make changes and revisions, or we can do that separate and outstanding and keep your existing cover page for now. Is the board prepared to take that up in Word format at your next meeting, make any quick tweaks or revisions?
Making revisions to what?
To the cover page for your applications.
What are we ready to do with that? What do you think, Sean?
I think that we can approve the rules and regulations with reference to the existing cover sheet, and we can take up revisions to the cover sheet once these rules are adopted by simple majority.
I love it. That sounds good. Anybody have a different idea with that? No, that sounds like what we should do. Awesome.
Comments. So the board had sought feedback from town staff as to the required application components. I've spoke with Mary Nedwarski a couple times about this. She and I have the same recommendation, which is to bring these down to 3 copies of all physical documents, ranging from a stormwater management report up through waivers and up through plan sets. However, we do recommend the caveat that additional hard copies are to be provided by the applicant at the request of the town planner, or to be printed at the applicant's cost. So if the applicant is a far distance away, say Plainville, Massachusetts, at times we will instead print the copies via Staples and then bill it back against their 53G account. If the board is amenable to these 3 copies, it saves us a lot of paper. In both Mary's deep experience as well as my 3 years experience with the town, with nearly every board we've had, we never hand out all the paper copies. We usually keep 1 file copy that remains in the folder, 1 copy available to the public, and from time to time, a board member will ask to take out a paper copy because it's just easier sometimes.
I am fine with that too. I use, digital copies all the time. for everything. So I'm pretty good with that. But there is times when you got to have the role in your hands to really do an effective review.
Yes.
So it sounds like a perfect plan. Anybody need paper copies? Okay. And I know Mark White doesn't either. He does things digitally too. So, all right, cool.
All right, and this was, you had asked a review of the fee. So it had previously noted $250. Only one of your application types, specifically for cell towers, is $250. The others are all $200. And then we use an undefined postage fee only because if the cost of postage changes, then it could manipulate the fee. So we just describe it plus the postage fee for each listed abutter certified by the Board of Assessors. I will note that this is actually a duplicative fee. So we charge it twice, once for the mailing of the hearing notice and then once for the notice of the decision at the end as well.
So this is, to me, the fee is kind of an administrative issue. It's more the planner's issue because it's something to cover the town's staff. We're volunteers, so we don't care. But any thoughts, board, on that? I'm fine with Alex's suggestion.
Did we specify first class postage, or that doesn't make a difference?
No, we just leave it to the discretion of the town. I don't know offhand what Mary and Steph use when running it through.
Okay.
I will note for the board as a whole, while it doesn't affect you today, this past summer, the town administrator's office did have an intern in hand who did a fee analysis and did find that several fees that the town currently uses are undervalued. And so the office is considering whether or not to increase those fees moving forward. And so I would expect some communication in the new calendar year regarding that initiative, especially as we are facing a potential override vote going into this year.
Everybody good with what Alec has suggested? Anybody got a different plan? Okay. All right.
Great. So we get to the first questions regarding Adam Costa's opinion. So the line reads, the chair shall preside at all meetings at which he is present and may administer oaths, summon witnesses, and call for production of papers. Mark, you had left a comment here that you had wanted Adam Costa's opinion. I presume to shore up this language, ensure that it's accurate. I have not sought that opinion from Adam Costa, so unless anyone feels strongly tonight, I will proceed ahead of your next meeting to have him review this and an additional comment on the document.
I think it used to be there was a general law that spoke to it, but I can't find it. I know I've read older documents where they said that ZBAs can administer oaths and select boards can and other boards can, but I can't find it now. So I just thought maybe we should check with Adam. Anybody got a problem with us checking with Adam?
I have no problem checking with Adam, but they absolutely can. I'm commonly at zoning board meetings in other communities where the chair will either administer an oath at the start of each hearing, just say anyone who plans to give testimony tonight, raise your hand, or we'll do it sort of on an as-needed basis. But I see it done all the time.
Okay. I have no plans to do it unless we need to, but I thought you should have the language there. But okay. Awesome.
Okay, so this one, originally this line had read 175 days. I agree that 175 days is not accurate. This is specifically time of decision, I believe, for appeal, public hearing decision. So time of decision. So 175, that's not my understanding. If in the case of, for example, an appeal of an official's decision or a variance, it's always been my understanding that it's a flat 100. However, I understand the mathematics to get to 114, which would be 100 days to render its decision and then an additional 14 days to produce that written decision. I leave it to the board's discretion if you want to leave this as 114 days or if you want to bring it down to the flat 100, but I agree that 175 was not accurate.
So refresh my memory that on section 15, is that the variances or the appeal? I mean, the appeal of decision?
Let me jump over. I have that pulled up in a separate window.
Because the clock, as I recall, is different for special permits, and the same for or very similar for variances and appeals of an official.
You're right. So under section, the special permit section has its own timelines and its own constructive approval process. The section 15 says the decision shall be made within 100 days after the date of filing an appeal. I'm sorry, an appeal, comma, application or petition. And then it says except in regards to special permits.
Okay. But it isn't, there is more than just 100 days. It's something about the
yeah,
filing.
So this is tricky, and I think that we should be changing this to 100 days to track the statute. There is a when the decision is made, meaning we vote, and there's a decision made. It's a separate requirement that you have to record a record of that decision within 14 days. So I think that if we don't have a vote until the 113th day, I think we're out of compliance, even though we have an additional period of time to file the record with the clerk. I think it's 100 days.
Okay. Well, we can always break our own rules and on behalf of the statute if it allows us to go beyond it. So I'm fine with that. Does the board have a problem with us changing to 100 days? Okay.
And then this section, in the event that an applicant furnished additional information or documentation to the board at its request, he shall be deemed to have agreed to an extension of the time limit for a decision by a number of days measured by the time between the request and compliance. So this section, there had been a request to have Adam Costa review. He has not done so as of yet, but I will ask him to do so ahead of your next meeting, unless any members have an answer to this as of now.
Anybody have confidence in this enough to say we don't need Adam to look at it? I'm fine with whatever the board wants to do.
I would have said we should not include this. And that if we're up against a clock and the applicant wants us to, I don't like it being automatic. I like extensions being in writing. That's what the statute contemplates. I think if you do it, if the board takes the position that, well, the applicant gave us something new to review, we didn't get an extension agreement in writing, but look, if you look at section 6.8.3 of our rules and regulations, automatically extended, I feel like we're just going to end up in court.
Okay. I think that I hear your point. I think you're probably
the statute says you're supposed to get extensions in writing. I think we should not try to have a backdoor around that.
Is there some language that we should have instead, though, to say if the applicant has late filings that the board may request an extension or something like that, or not even bother?
Well, the additional information could be given piecemeal. I give you one piece today, tomorrow I give you another piece to extend, tomorrow I give you another piece, the next day I give you another piece, and so the extension just is continual, the way I read this anyway. Which makes me agree with Sean's comment about not having it specified.
So the question is, should we strike it all together, or is there something we should put in its place? And I'm okay either way.
I would strike it. I don't think it's necessary. The statute provides that we're allowed to have extensions. So we're not losing anything by not saying that.
Okay. Okay. Anybody object to just striking?
No.
I'm hearing nothing, so I'd say strike it.
All right, so I did make a correction here that the notice required. Previously, it stated that copies of the decision would be circulated to the applicant, building inspector, and select board. However, my reading review is that it does also say notice is required, not copies of the decision. I will note it is always our courtesy when we do publish a decision, we transmit a digital copy to the applicant so they're aware immediately of what's within it. But that's just a matter of practice, not a requirement.
Yep, I have section 15 open, and the way you have it, Alec, tracks the statute, which gets my seal of approval.
Good. Good. Okay.
Right. So there was this one note here that I did not have a firm response to. Is this note whether an appeal has been filed, referencing the last two paragraphs of section 9. By my count, those referenced hazardous waste facilities. So I don't know if maybe I missed a reference to a different one, but I can bring that up here. Bear with me. I'm just going to switch my screen share. So you'll see section 48 or chapter 48, section 9 takes you to special permits. The final two paragraphs, and apologies for anyone with motion sickness, that references hazardous waste facilities in those last two paragraphs.
Yeah, that's not it. No. Okay. I'm sorry. Can we go back to our rules and regs for the screen?
Absolutely.
Unless someone else needs to read this. I'm sorry. Wait, let's hold on this for a moment.
I will note this section was applicable to the town for different purposes several years ago, prior to July 1st of 1987. The town of Boxborough had passed a prohibition on hazardous waste facilities, which had then been struck by the AG at the time of recodification. However, as of this meeting, and as of just a couple months ago, the AG has reinstituted the town's prohibition on both commercial dumps and hazardous waste facilities.
I caught that. I said, hey, we had this in there. We predated this statute.
Yes, so that is all covered. We're clear on that front. You won't be getting any proposals for those.
All right. So the statute, I can't even tell you what paragraph it is because there's been so many amendments. So it's the 9, let me see. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, maybe it's the 14th paragraph of section 9. It starts with the words failure by the special permit granting authority. A little less than halfway through the paragraph, it says, after the expiration of 20 days without notice of appeal pursuant to section 17, or if an appeal has been taken after receipt of certified records of the court in which the appeal is adjudicated. The city or town clerk shall issue a certificate stating the date of approval, comma, the fact that the special permit granting authority, no, we don't care about that. That's what it says about date of approval. So I don't know where that puts us.
Yeah, don't know why I put that note there, and so apologies for that. I'm sure I had a good reason at the time.
Well, let me see if there's something else.
Mr. Chairperson, if I could, in reading this section the way it's written, ultimately where this terminates is that it doesn't become effective until that decision is recorded. There are multiple steps along the way, how we operate and function. Ultimately, they don't receive a certified copy with that clerk's signature until all other elements of Mass General Law have taken hold, whether there was or was not an appeal, whether there were multiple appeals, however long that appeal went. Ultimately, the way this section reads is until you file your decision with the South Middlesex Registry of Deeds, you will not be able to apply for a building permit. So I think the section has all the same purpose and intent without spelling out all the nuances that Mass General Law requires.
Yeah, except that you can pull a building permit. You can record a special permit and pull a building permit even though it's been appealed.
You can, yeah. That was a change in the law that was a pretty good one. If you had a notice of action within the first 20 days, and the clerk wouldn't release the decision, you couldn't record it. But now you can record a decision under appeal, and you can get a building permit, and you can build. Yeah. But,
So I guess this, but you know what? It's the language here. It says, and whether an appeal has been filed. So I think that covers it.
okay. And I guess, yeah, I mean, it's not it's an administrative process anyway.
I'm fine with that language.
Anybody object to the language as it is? Okay.
Talk about building at your own risk if you pull a building permit while it's still being appealed.
Yeah. Well, it isn't even the appeal period. You can be under appeal. You be under appeal. Somebody could be filing a case against you, and you can still build. It's like, I think that was a change for the better, though. But that way,
Yeah.
wealthy people can't beat up on poor people who are trying to get their buildings built with endless appeals.
As a practical matter, though, you can't get construction financing if you're appealed. So,
Gotcha.
Article 8, 8.1 regular meetings. I did just briefly update this language. Regular meetings of the board shall be held as needed, typically at 7:30 p.m. on the first and third Tuesday of each month. So before it had the old meetings date back when we had a successive every other week, those being the first and third. We have moved to a more as needed model. That way the chair and I don't have to go back and forth every first and third and cancel more than half of them.
Are we good with the language as we have it?
As long as it makes Alex's life easy, I'm happy with it.
Well, to be fair, I don't like the sound of my own voice, so I'm sure Mark doesn't like hearing it. I think it makes his life easier than anyone. Right, with me, and that brings us to the end. So that brings us back up to the front. So as discussed, we will address Appendix A after approval of your rules and regulations. I will get a response from Adam Costa on that one item, and otherwise, this should be good to go. I'll remove the red lines on the number of materials, and I will circulate this tomorrow morning, so you have the clean copy in front of you. We'll just be waiting for that one outstanding review from Attorney Costa. But otherwise, your rules and regs are ready for approval at your next meeting.
Awesome. You know, I think I'm going to be the chair for like 3 more months, 4 more months. So, Sean, you should be thinking about whether or not you want to be the chair. or if any of the other members want to be the chair. We should rotate. It's always good to have different people do the job. So, anywho, just keep it in mind. It's coming up. Anything else the board wants to talk about?
Mr. Chairperson, I'd recommend just a motion to continue this to December 2nd at 7:45 p.m.
Anyone want to make that motion?
Instead
So
of
moved.
7:35?
7:45.
Motion by
Second.
Sean, second by
Second.
Andrew. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, Michael Toops,
Michael Toops, aye.
Dan Stuntz,
Stunts, aye.
Andrew Tevelacci,
Aye.
Sean McCormick,
McCormick, aye.
and Mark Barbadoro, aye. Okay. Anything else the board wants to discuss? Hearing nothing. Okay. How about a motion to adjourn?
So
I'll make a
moved.
motion to adjourn.
All right. Motion by Dan. Any second?
Second.
Second by Andrew. Any discussion? Hearing none. Michael Toops,
Michael Toops, aye.
Dan Stuntz,
Stunts, aye.
Andrew Tevelacci,
Tavalacci, aye.
Sean McCormick,
McCormick, aye.
and Mark Barbadoro, aye. All right, guys, have a great night.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
All right.